It would be an abject failure if the Atlanta Falcons missed the playoffs. A failure. And to me, if the Atlanta Falcons missed the playoffs, I would fire Terry Fontenot, the general manager. If the Atlanta Falcons miss the playoffs, Terry Fontenot has to go. He has to go if the Falcons miss the playoffs because this is fourth season being a general manager of this team. And look, he's done some pretty decent stuff. Like you look at what he's done with, signing Jesse Bates from Cincinnati. It's a great move. This past offseason, he signed Darnell Mooney. Great move. Darnell Mooney's been the best receiver on this team this season. He's been great. Great. I think he leads the league in 20-plus yard completions. He's been great. He drafted Bijan Robinson. I think Bijan Robinson is one of the top 3 or 4 running backs in the league. I'm not going to say he's the best because there's this guy in Philadelphia and Saquon Barkley that exists. And you got Derrick Henry in Baltimore who also exists. But he's one of the top 3 or 4 running backs in this league to me. So I like that pick. I like Drake London. So he's done some good. But when I look at the bad with Terry Fontenot, we got to look at Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, he's looking like a borderline bust right now. He looks like a borderline bust. I mean, you got this guy just, sometimes he ain't running routes hard. Some people call him lazy. It feels like when I watch Kyle Pitts, he just looks out of place. And he's not fitting into whatever scheme on offense that Zach Robinson wants to run. And like he just, there was a little blip in the midseason where it felt like Atlanta was starting to figure out how to use him. And he had a few big plays, specifically I remember against Tampa and Carolina where he was getting going a little bit. And now he's disappeared again. And so you look at the fact that Atlanta drafted him 4th overall, a tight end, a pick that many people, including myself, questioned. The Falcons, instead of Kyle Pitts, could have had Jamar Chase from Cincinnati. Could have had Penei Sewell, who's now currently in Detroit, who's arguably the best left tackle in the league. Could have had Michael Parsons. Even though, Michael Parsons went 10th, so, it's not like the Falcons are the only team that passed up on him. But, I mean, you could have had him. And you took a tight end. And it hasn't worked. And not just that. The Atlanta Falcons still don't have a reliable pass rush. And look, they've looked better the last couple of weeks, but that does not change the fact that just a couple of weeks ago, the Atlanta Falcons were last in the league in sacks. And so the lack of a reliable pass rush, to me, the fact that this is now year 4 and the Falcons haven't done a good job they haven't found a guy, that falls on the feet of Terry Fontenot. And he has not gotten the job done. The secondary, as last we saw against Minnesota, and seeing not just Justin Jefferson, but Jordan Addison just laid a torture rack over these dudes. It just kind of exposed the fact that the Falcons don't have a secondary, a consistent, especially at the cornerback spot opposite A.J. Terrell. Because Sam Darnold went after whoever A.J. Terrell wasn't guarding and just had success picking them apart. And Kirk Cousins, like I mentioned before, the Atlanta Falcons had a chance. They could have signed Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, look at what he's doing in Minnesota. Sam Darnold in Minnesota, Minnesota's 11-2. Sam Darnold has, 27 touchdowns? Or, I think he has 27. I might be wrong about that, but he's had a great year. And his quarterback rating is over 100. And this is a guy that people are just kind of, sort of putting him in MVP talks right now. Sam Darnold's been awesome. And look, I'm not saying Sam Darnold would have been doing what he was doing in Detroit and Atlanta had Atlanta would have signed him. But I'll tell you this much with Sam Darnold, he would have been cheaper. Much cheaper. You know, you wouldn't have to pay them $90 million guaranteed. The way we paid Kirk Cousins, $90 million guaranteed. And the thing with Kirk Cousins is simple. Atlanta can't get off of him. They're stuck with him for another year. Because if you cut him, that's going to be $65 million debt cap hit on your books. So it's going to impact your ability to add talent to the team. And if you trade him, who's going to want him? Who's going to trade for a Kirk Cousins who's 36 years old, who's the last month is looking borderline washed? Who's going to trade him? Who's going to want him? And so now you're at a point where you're probably going to be stuck with a guy making $45 million a year as a backup quarterback, possibly to Michael Penix when and if he gets his opportunity to start, which I believe is coming. If not, maybe at the end of the year, definitely next season. And so, and all of these problems that the Falcons have fall on the feet of Terry Fontenot. They just do. He has, the truth of the matter is with Terry Fontenot, he has not done a good enough job of building this team up. It's just the facts. And so, at the end of the day, you know, the Atlanta Falcons, like I said, this team has a lot of problems. They're a mess. They're a disaster. They're a bad football team. And over the last year, really even before Terry Fontenot got here, over the last like 7-8 years, the Atlanta Falcons have gotten a lot more wrong than right. They've gotten a lot wrong. Whether it's coaching hires, draft picks, trades, a lot. Everything. They've gotten a lot wrong. And the way that this season is looking right now, I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's a mess.